I'm Kieran Anderson, group publisher here at Applied Radiology, and we are here live at RSNA, and I am so glad to have Tonya Altman in our booth today. Tonya is the Diagnostic Imaging Manager at Door County Medical Center. Welcome, Tonya.
Thank you for having me.
It is truly our pleasure. Thank you. And I'm also joined by Kelsey Schluter, who is the lead technologist and analyst at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Kelsey, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, Kieran.
You know, we're going to talk today a little bit about a new system that you guys have installed from Canon and your experiences on that system, you know, particularly kind of from a workflow perspective and how it's made a difference in, you know, managing your patients, making your lives easier. And, you know, because a lot of times we focus on what the doctors are saying, the physicians are saying, but at the end of the day, it comes down to, you know, how the technologists are using it, right? And in this role, I think you guys can both provide a lot of really good input. So we'll get right into it. And I'd love to hear from each of you, because as I understand it, you both have different systems from Canon. So I'll start with you, Tonya. Maybe you could tell us what system you have recently installed in your hospital up there at Door County Medical Center.
Yeah, we purchased the Aquilion Serve SP with the INSTINX package on it. So we purchased that right after RSNA when it was announced last year, and we have seen great efficiency improvements for the exams themselves, for the tech's workflow, for patient volumes with the system, and it just has been a wonderful addition for our rural health hospital.
That's great. That's great. And Kelsey, tell us a little bit about, you know, what you guys did at University of Wisconsin-Madison. Slightly different type of institution, right?
Right, completely different. At the University of Wisconsin-Madison, we're a level 1 trauma center. We have a wide fleet of other scanners, but the Canon, we purchased INSTINX Insight Canon, and it's been a great addition, especially for our interventional stuff. Our radiologists are able to fluidly use it during procedures. Our technologists, especially with the INSTINX software, are able to feel confident in what they're doing on a daily basis.
And I think that's really so important, because at the end of the day, it comes down to like feeling comfortable using the system, right? And every institution is slightly different, and, you know, constantly people are changing, right? Workforce shortages, people change jobs. What's it been like in terms of like getting up to speed on these systems? I'll stay with you for a moment.
Sure. You know, the INSTINX software, Canon being the first time we've had it in the facility, was a little bit of a hardship, but once you kind of get used to the system, understand that the vendors are somewhat similar.
Right.
They all have the same workflow, and everything is just a fluid motion, so it's just kind of understanding the button knowledge, and wham bam, on you go.
On you go. Simple as that. Would you concur?
Yeah, it is a much simpler platform to use. We did have Canon prior to this,
Okay.
but being a rural health hospital with only one CT room, we needed to ensure that our techs were going to feel confident in it, and the simplicity of the system really has encouraged new technologists to want to jump into CT faster,
Right.
and having to staff 24 hours a day, like you said, staffing shortages, it has allowed people to cross-train more timely, but also be good at what they're cross-training in, right? We don't want to just learn something and give subpar care. They're giving exceptional images every time, no matter who's doing it.
And that is really so important, because certainly patients don't want to have to be rescanned, right?
Absolutely.
Nobody
wants that.
Nobody wants that.
Never a good day for anyone.
Us as technologists don't want to do that.
Exactly, exactly. So when you think about like some of the decisions you were making as part of probably a collaborative team, right? Because it's got to work for everybody. What were some of the things that you saw on this scanner, and, you know, the software that's involved? I think that's the INSTINX user interface, right? What were some of the things that made you choose this system?
Sure. So I'll speak from more of an interventional. You know, the 3D landmark, it's a low-dose axial scan. You're able to make sure you have the correct coverage. Our interventionalists are actually able to, as long as it's a big enough biopsy site, they're able to measure directly off that 3D landmark. We don't have to do another low-dose helical scan. And then just the table controls that they have, especially in the room. They can do the lateral movement, angle movements, raise the table up and down, make sure that they have enough room for their trajectory for their biopsy site.
So those are some of the features that really stood out for you.
Yes.
How about you, Tonya?
Well, for me, again, the simplicity of it. I personally do not have a CT background, so here I am as a leader picking out a CT system. I used my subject matter experts, but also when I was investigating each of the systems with Canon, I could stumble my way through as an X-ray tech with history of being on the floor. I could make my way through the system, and if I could feel confident in that, imagine how confident and how quickly someone who's actually being trained to do it would really be able to grasp on it. And that's held true as we've done them. We're seeing that our techs are having confidence a lot sooner than they were with our past systems.
I think those are really important points, really, quite frankly, to share with the wider audience, because at the end of the day, it comes down to keeping it simple, right?
Right.
And talk to me a little bit about the support you got from Canon, right? They've got clinical application specialists, people available to support you, I'm sure. What was it like, getting everything up to speed? I'll stay with you for a second,
Yeah,
Tonya.
Canon did a great job. They were there for us every step of the way. They even helped with only having one room. We had to bring in a truck to do CTs in, so they helped us with that and got us through everything, made sure we were all set. They had many support systems there the day of, but they were also there for a while and making sure we felt confident. And now we're a show site for others to come and see and get to experience the wonderful system. And I know they're always a phone call away if we need them, but most of the time, all the answers are right on the system itself. You can communicate with them and have the tech support right through the system.
That's incredible. That's incredible. How about you with the University of Wisconsin? Talk to us about the support level you got there.
The support level has been great. I'm sure our app specialist, our field engineer, and physicist probably regret giving me their personal cell phone number because I utilize them more and more every day. But they're always a phone call away, email away. The field engineer, it almost feels like he drops everything just to come to UW-Madison and help us out. So Canon has really, and they check in. Even if I don't call them, they check in every week, every other week, making sure that the system's still running smoothly as it should.
That's really great. Let's transition a little bit to the user interface, because that's new on this system from Canon. I think they call it the INSTINX user interface. And I imagine it's got a lot of features that I have no idea what they're all about, but you two can probably fill me in. But I'd love to know, what kind of improvements you've seen in your sort of day-to-day lives with this new INSTINX user interface. Tonya, how about you first?
Yeah, for our team, having automated systems set up on the protocols, it generates our post-imaging for us, so that speeds up the exam. While it doesn't replace a technologist, we still check them over and make sure all the images are accurate. It enhances the whole experience for everybody. And then the simplicity of it, like I said, it kind of breaks CT down one step at a time for those people that might not feel as confident in that training that they can troubleshoot for that. And ultimately, it just helps us deliver consistent images that are very clear all the time. No matter who's scanning, every time, 100%, you're getting the same experience.
That's great. That's great. And Kelsey, what would you say has been your experience with it and what some of your colleagues are saying as well?
Sure. We started off kind of as a beta site for the INSTINX software. We helped them fine-tune quite a few things, but overall, it's come together as a masterpiece almost, and it's shown to reduce workflow steps. So you have your 3D landmark, you have all your anatomy. Right off the 3D landmark, you're able to find your sure start location for your timing boluses or bolus tracking. And it reduces those steps in and out of. So take care of the patient, get them set up, do the scan, right back to the patient, which is the most important part of our jobs.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm sure you would agree with that.
100%. And thank you for helping make such a great thing.
Yeah.
I think that's a really important point too, that, Canon in this sense really takes time to collaborate with their customers, right?
They do.
Because that feedback is so important, because, what you can do on the manufacturing floor is very different than what happens in a real life clinical setting, right? And so,
Yep.
Taking that feedback is really important. When you think about some of the best features of the INSTINX software, and the differences that it's making for your technologists, right? Maybe it's workflow efficiency, maybe it's just simply, we talked about ease of use, right? What are some of the things that you would say, or some of the things that jump out at you as some of the key features that are making the lives of your technologists easier?
Yeah, I think for me, the interaction that they get to do with the patients, because we all go into healthcare wanting to interact with our patients and be there and support them. And the system really allows them to stay near the patient to complete the majority of their workflow. And then also that they're not stuck at a computer doing all that reprocessing. Again, they're getting to interact and to be helping the patients that they're there to care for, although they have the oversight to change things if necessary. So it's not replacing a human, it's just helping them to be more efficient and to spend that dedicated time with the patient, which I think is ultimately what we all want.
It's all about patient care and patient management. So I don't know if you concur, or if you have anything else to add.
Yeah, again, it's just all about patient experience, staff safety too. So the features that Canon has to offer with the lateral movement, you're not tugging on a sheet trying to pull the patient side to side. You easily just move them. I mean, especially in a level 1 trauma center, we have these acute patients that don't want to be touched. They don't even want to be transferred to our table. So making that transfer easy, being able to adjust our table around the patients, has been very beneficial.
Right.
And not only is that benefit for your patient, but also for the employee, reducing their chance of injury.
Correct, of course, yeah. That makes a lot of sense. And I think we've really, in a way, just covered this, because I was going to ask you, what's the impact on all of this to the patient, right? But it sounds like, much of what we've covered already, really says that. But would you add anything else to what you're hearing from your patients about this new system from Canon?
I mean, Tonya said it the best. Everything you can do is almost right with the patient. There's not, okay, I'll talk to you from outside the room.
Right.
It's all there. You get them set up. You go back, do your scan. You're right back with that patient.
Yeah, they're amazed. The comments that I hear as a leader of how quick it was. How did they do that when they were in my room the whole time? How did they get those images? Because it's happening so quickly, and they appreciate that they were relaxed and comforted by the tech there.
That's fantastic. That is fantastic. Well, I think this is probably a great point to wrap up, but I'll just ask you, either one of you, one at a time, if you have any sort of final sort of closing thoughts on, not only your experience with the scanner, but your experience working with Canon.
Overall, Canon's been a great help in making it a lot smoother transition, especially coming from a hospital that has other vendors in it. No one wanted, don't bring in a new person kind of thing, but they've just made it such a fluid motion that it's almost like Canon's been there our whole lifetime, if you want to call it.
That's great. That's really great. They're part of the family.
Exactly.
Part of the family.
Family
How about
now.
you, Tonya?
You took the word out of my mouth. That was one of the things, is it is almost like a family. We kind of are each other's right and left hand. We work together and we have the same goals, and they align so well with our personal values for our facility that it just is a good partnership, and we appreciate it. And it's been a wonderful experience.
Well, that is really great. And I just want to thank you, by the way, on behalf of us here at Applied Radiology, taking the time to come to our booth at RSNA and talk to us about your experiences on these new CT systems from Canon, talking about the INSTINX new user interface and all of that. So, Tonya, Kelsey, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us today.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate it.
Our pleasure.